One night, a woman went out drinking with her girlfriends. She left the bar fairly late at night, got in her car, and onto a deserted highway. After a few minutes, she noticed a lone pair of headlights in her rear view mirror, approaching at a pace just slightly quicker than hers. As the car pulled up behind her, she glanced and saw the turn signal on. The car was going to pass. When suddenly, it swerved back behind her, pulling up dangerously close to her tailgate, and the brights flashed. Now she was getting nervous. The lights dimmed for a moment, and the brights came back on, and the car behind her surged forward. The frightened woman struggled to keep her eyes on the road, and fought the urge to look at the car behind her. Finally, her exit approached, but the car continued to follow, flashing the bright lights. Through every stoplight and turn, it followed her until she pulled into her driveway. She figured her only hope was to make a mad dash into the house and call the police. As she fled from the car, so did the driver of the car behind her, and he screamed, locked the door, and called the police. Call 911. When the police arrived, the horrible truth was finally revealed to the woman. The man in the car had been trying to save her. As he pulled up behind her and his headlights illuminated her car, he saw the silhouette of a man with a butcher knife raising up from the back seat to stab her. So he flashed his brights and the figure crouched back down. In Corona, California, there once was a road known by most locals as the Neverending Road. Specifically, the road's true name was Lavender Road. Now, over 20 years later, the landscape of Corona has changed and the Neverending Road is no more. However, years ago, Lavender Road was an unlit road that people claimed became a never-ending road when driven at night. The people who made such a drive were never seen or heard from again. The legend became so well known that people refused to even drive Lavender Road during the day. One night, like many teens my age, I drove up Lavender Road, but only a short distance. And in my headlights, it did look like it went on forever. Frightened, I quickly turned around, because if I continued up the road, I thought I might never return again. Perpetuation of the legend convinced local law enforcement to investigate. Lavender Road took a sharp left turn at its end, and there were no guardrails. Beyond the curve lay a canyon, and on the other side of the canyon was another road that lined up so well with Lavender Road that when viewed from the correct angle, especially at night, the canyon vanishes from sight, and the road seemed to continue on up and over the hill on the other side of the canyon. Upon investigation of the canyon, dozens of cars were found, fallen to their doom, with the decomposing bodies of the victims still strapped in their seats. In rural Wisconsin, there's an old abandoned park. Built in the 1920s, it served as the town's gathering place for everyone. That is, until a newly developed train and tunnel for Tots ride was installed in 1932. It was an innocent-looking childish train with one main mechanized head car with three smaller trolleys pulled behind it. It went around some loops before going into a small tunnel. But this is where the story gets weird. There were numerous cases of child deaths that year. All of them happened after the children rode on that train system. Some kids disappeared without explanation during the ride in that short tunnel, about 10 feet, and others went comatose after leaving, only to die from sudden unexplained death syndrome shortly afterwards. One, upon exiting, was found to be simply dead, her dress covered in what looked like small bloody handprints. Some kill themselves by scratching at their own throats until they bled out, and one of them even killed another toddler before hanging herself with razor wire at her family's farm. The park closed down, and the town's popularity as a tourist town plummeted. Recently, a team of scientists were sent out to the park. They taped a video camera to the train and put a crash test dummy in with it before sending it on its way onto the tracks. When the train left the tunnel, it was empty, except for the camera. The video was completely black, with very faint sounds of distorted and gurgling, and the last 10 seconds were nothing but static, save for the sound of children laughing. Kashima Riku is a Japanese urban legend about the ghost of a woman with no legs who haunts school bathrooms. Warning: they say after hearing the story of Kashima Riku, she will appear to you within a month. If you don't want to see her, don't read this. Kashima Riku is the ghost of a woman who lived in the city of Hokkaido in Japan. One night, she was attacked by a group of men. They beat her badly, abused her horrifically, and then left her for dead. She tried to call for help, but no one heard her. She tried to find someone to help her, but she crawled onto a railroad track and collapsed unconscious. A train came along and ran her over, killing her and cutting her in two. Her body was severed at the waist. Ever since then, Kashima Riku's vengeful ghost has wandered the world, searching for her missing legs. She is mainly encountered in school bathrooms, but also may appear in your bathroom at home in the middle of the night. When you enter the bathroom, she will ask you questions. If you cannot answer her questions correctly, she will tear your legs off. If she asks, "Where are my legs?" the answer is, "On the Meijin Expressway." She will say, "Who told you that?" You should reply, "Kashima Riku told me that." Sometimes she asks a trick question. "Do you know my name?" Do not say Kashima, or she will kill you. The correct answer is Mask Death Demon. Kashima stands for Ka, Kamen, Mask. Shinin, dead person, and Ma, demon. It is said that after you hear the story of Kashima Riku, she will appear to you within a month. The Midnight Game is an old pagan ritual used mainly as punishment for those who have broken the laws of the pagan religion in question. While it was mainly used as a scare tactic to not disobey the gods, there is still a very existent chance of death to those who play the Midnight Game. There is an even higher chance of mental scarring. It is highly recommended that you do not play the Midnight Game. However, for those few thrill seekers searching for a rush, or for those delving into obscure occult rituals, these are simple instructions on how to play. Do so at your own risk. It must be exactly 12 a.m. when you begin performing the ritual. Otherwise, it will not work. You will need a candle, a piece of paper, a writing implement, matches or a lighter, salt, a wooden door, and at least a drop of your own blood. If you are playing with multiple people, they will need their own of the aforementioned materials, and they will have to perform the steps below accordingly. Step 1. Write your full name, first, middle, and last on the piece of paper. Put at least 1 drop of blood on the paper and allow it to soak in. Step 2. Turn off all the lights in the place you are doing this. Go to your wooden door and place the paper with your name on it in front of the door. Now take out a candle and light it. Place it on top of the paper. Step 3. Knock on the door 22 times. The hour must be 12 a.m. upon the final knock. Then, open the door, blow out your candle, and close the door. You have just allowed the Midnight Man to enter your house. Step 4. Immediately relight your candle. This is where the game begins. You must now lurk around your new completely dark house with the lit candle in your hand. Your goal is to avoid the Midnight Man at all cost until 3:33 a.m. Should your candle ever go out, that means the Midnight Man is near you. You must relight your candle in the next 10 seconds. If you are not successful in doing this, you must then immediately surround yourself with a circle of salt. If you are unsuccessful in both of your actions, the Midnight Man will create a hallucination of your greatest fear and rip your organs out one by one. You will feel it, but you will be unable to react. If you are successful in relighting your candle, you may proceed with the game. You must continue to 3:33 a.m. without being attacked by the Midnight Man or being trapped inside the circle of salt to win the midnight game. The Midnight Man will leave your house at 3:33 a.m. and you will be safe to proceed with your morning. Indications that you are near the Midnight Man will include sudden drop in temperature, seeing a pure black humanoid figure through the darkness, and hearing very soft whispering coming from an indiscernible source. If you experience any of these, it is advised that you leave the area to avoid the Midnight Man. Whatever you do, do not turn any of the lights on during the midnight game. Do not use a flashlight during the midnight game. Do not go to sleep during the midnight game. Do not attempt to use another person's blood on your name. Do not use a lighter as a substitute for a candle. It will not work. And definitely do not attempt to provoke the Midnight Man in any way. Even when the game is over, he will always be watching you. Good luck. You are going to need it.